Welcome to the Digital Planning Podcast. This series is designed to educate individuals about all things digital in connection with estate planning, business planning, and estate administration. To keep up with all things digital, please subscribe to iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, or wherever you download your podcasts. And now, Jennifer Ziegel, a partner at Kleinberg LLC, Ross Bruck, a principal of Estate Genie, and Justin Brown, a partner at Troutman Pepperell Hamilton Sanders LLP, with today's topic.
Hey, podcast listeners. In previous episodes, we've talked a lot about the future of estate planning and estate administration, and there's a lot of uncertainty about what the future of the practice looks like 10, 20, 30 years from now, which is partially why we think it's so interesting to discuss. But at some point in the future, I'm fairly certain that we'll rely a lot less on paper documents. That's pretty much certain. On the planning side, we're already starting to see this. So with the adoption of electronic wills, you see a lot less paper in physical form being used. But we see a lot less of that on the administrative side. We're still relying on court certifies, raised seal documents that need to be mailed or hand delivered. And I'm willing to wager that some point in the future, we see a lot less of that. But there needs to be a new solution in the meantime. Today's guest, Raghunath Menon, who's the founder and CEO of a company called Triedata, thinks he has a better solution, a certified digital court-approved document that can replace a lot of the hard copy short certificates, letters testamentary, other court-related documents that we so readily rely upon. So we thought it'd be interesting for you to hear what one version of the future might look like when we're talking about digital documents. We hope you enjoy, and thanks for listening. Welcome back to the Digital Planning Podcast. I'm Ross with my co-hosts Jen and Justin. And today we are joined by Raghunath Menon, who is the founder and CEO of Triedata. Welcome to the podcast, Raghu. We're so delighted to have you here today.
Thank you, Ross. It's fabulous to be here. I've been a great fan of your podcast over time, and it's always great to be here with you, Justin, Ross, and Jen.
We're focused today on the subject of digitizing documents and securing them, and it overlaps with the world of planning, but also several other sectors that some of our listeners might be interested in. So, Raghu, could you give the background on what your company does?
Absolutely. Triedata is a software company specializing in three distinct fields, namely cryptography, artificial intelligence, and natural language processing. That's the three areas. And one of our flagship technology is Clerk Certify, which is the discussion point for today's podcast. That's the technology used by the courthouses throughout the United States to generate self-validating, tamper-evident, certified copies of court records. That's been one of our most selling technology, and then is widely used and widely adopted across local, state, as well as by federal agencies.
On this podcast, we've covered subjects like cryptocurrency. We've covered topics like electronic wills, but we haven't really focused on the fact that many people rely on government documents that are still in hard copy form. And the transition from a hard copy world to a bit of a hybrid where some digital documents are accepted and honored as a original raised seal type document. I'm sure you hear that all the time. Entities need to rely on a raised seal. They need to see that wet ink. They need to see the actual signature to know it's a valid document. And I'm going to guess let's start there. Is that one of the first objections you hear to the idea of digitizing documents?
Absolutely. And you just hit it right on the head, Ross, with that particular starting point. Let's take a look at how the certification works in current world or in the past over time, over many, many years. You go into the courthouse, or you go into the Register of Wills office, or Register of Deeds office, and then ask for a certified copy. What they do is that they print out a copy of it, take a wet seal, mash it on it. Sometimes they have a crimp seal and give it back to you. 99.9% of the time, when somebody requests that document, They really do it for one and only one purpose, which is to give it to somebody else. Nobody keeps the document by themselves. They have no use for it, right? So the big question that comes up is that whom do you give this document to? Typically, it's another government agency or a title company or a bank or another agency. And here's a key distinction is that you are giving that document as an evidence. It's an evidentiary document presented to the other office to say that I'm an executor of this will, or I am the a party to this case, or whatever it is, whatever the document happens to be, right? It's a piece of document used as an evidence. So the receiving party receives this document, and let's say that I'm in Philadelphia, and then I get a certified copy from Philadelphia County, and then I live in Orange County, Orlando, and I take it to a tax collector's office in Orange County and give them the certified copy. How do they know this came from Philadelphia County Clerk's office or Philadelphia County Registrar of Wills office? They don't. They just believe in that seal. How do they know this document has not been tampered? They don't. They just believe in that seal. How do they know an authorized person has issued this copy? They really don't. Because the reality is that the larger county, we have some clerk's offices where they have 700 employees, and the seal is on everybody's desk. All you need is mash a seal on a document, it is a certified copy, right? Which begs the question to say that, okay, how does this office verify that this is an authentic and true copy of a document? This becomes very interesting as the more the complex the document gets. So let's take a classic example, right? Let's take about probate cases in Florida, for example. Probate cases are not public. You have to be a party to the case or an attorney of record to get probate case. Same case with juvenile or mental health and other sensitive cases. For the sensitive cases, I get a certified copy of this document, and then I take it to Orange County tax collector or school, wherever it is, and they want to validate and say, there's something wrong with this certified document. Maybe something, they feel like someone has tampered it. They call the registrar's office or the courthouse and then say, I want to see the original now. The answer is, nope, you're not party to the case, nor an attorney, you're not able to see it. So now what happens is the most important document in your arsenal, you might as well forge it because no one can verify it. If you can verify it, then what difference it makes, right? So that's the problem that we have in the industry of the way it's being used, the wet seal, the wet stamp. And to be honest, I can make a wet seal or wet stamp or a crimp seal from Amazon or eBay for about $10. And then I can use it because I really haven't seen what a Philadelphia County clerk seal looks like, right? So that's the challenge.
Yeah, and I think that's an excellent point about the fact that many people are against moving to a digital format because of the fact that they think it's less secure. But if there's a fraudster out there who is really committed to it, there's a lot of downfalls with the existing system. So I see two benefits to what you're proposing and what you're doing. One is better security, and the other one is just streamlining the process. Anybody who can send an email, can send a digital document a lot faster than a physical document is going to be a happier customer, happier constituent, and a happier, whether they're an executor or a beneficiary or wherever in this process your documents get involved. That's really fascinating. I want to dive in the next however many minutes. I want to dive into both how you do this and some of the applications and further elaborate on what you've already said. But before we do that, let's take a step back. Walk me through your background. How did you get here? How did you identify this issue in the course of your career, and how did Triedata become what it is?
I'm a software engineer by profession. My education background was I did my bachelor's degree in physics and then my master's in computers. And then I've held varying positions with different companies like Siemens, QAD, and then lender processing services, all the way from supply chain, ERP, to mortgage banking. But one of the core areas that I focused on is, as a software engineer, I specialized in cryptography, as well as being in product management, software product management. And in product management, what you tend to do is that you look at the market and then try to figure out what is the thing that the market wants, and then try to build a product according to that. So while we were in I was in mortgage banking technology, one of the things that we realized was that it was hard in the space of mortgage banking to get a document from the register of deeds or the courthouses and whatnot. You required some runners to go get the document for you. If it's a certified document, obviously you need to have runners for it. Or you have like a disconnected set of master data. So you have all the master data for everything resides in the counties, right? County is the place where you record a document, and that becomes the master database for everything. But here you have a mortgage company or a title company or a bank or an attorney firm is relying on that data. And then they have to go and fetch that data from different counties. Mind you, there is more than 3,000 counties in the nation. So what we did was that we built an electronic bridge that connects the different counties within the nation through what we call as the web service APIs, so that you can retrieve whatever document you need electronically instantaneously. That was the first technology that we built, with our intention being is that there will be mortgage companies or the title companies or the attorney firms themselves would be very interested in having real-time access to the court documents or the register of wills documents. Then we came up with the idea that, well, instead of pulling the data, what if we do push it? Meaning that, what if something gets recorded and then you want to get notified that something got recorded against your name? That's an interesting thing. That's the next step. So instead of the attorney firm looking for to see, is there that document present? What if they get notified when that document is present, right? Or when something gets recorded? So that's why we came up with TriShield, which is our fraud alert system, which is able to detect changes in court records or the clerk records, and then notify the recipient, says something has changed, and you may want to take a look at it because some master data has changed for this particular individual or the case number for that matter. That's how our evolution has been. Then we get to the last phase, which is that, well, let's look at the document that you get from the courthouse. They are unprotected. I can tamper it, I can forge it, but in the certification world, there is a need to protect that document. That's why we came up with the Clerk E-Certify technology.
So Raghu, in the course of my practice, and I do a lot of estate administration, I run into certified documents all the time from the Register of Wills, deeds, whatever it is, court orders or decrees. And I'm constantly sending these certified documents over to financial institutions, maybe to prove that my client is the executor of the estate or prove an order. What response have you received when you first introduced the technology? What response did you receive to getting these certified documents for the first time?
It's been overwhelmingly positive, because of the fact that now the financial institution that is receiving this document can verify the authenticity of the document. That was the biggest benefit for them, because prior to this, they had no way to verify the authenticity. It was very difficult, especially for restricted documents, right? Public documents, at least you can go on the website. But the sheer convenience of it and the fact that this is a verifiable document, whether it is in electronic form or in paper form, has been really positively welcomed. Now, at the same time, when we went for first time, all of a sudden an entity receives a document which is in a completely different format from the way they've seen before. So they don't see the wet seal. So in that time, they will come back and say, oh my God, what is this, right? So what we did was that within the document in itself, there is enough documentation to say, go to the clerk's website or the Registrar of Wills website. There is documentation to say that this is coming, this is the new format from the Registrar of Wills office. And that has been one of the big success factors, because from the external entity like a bank, they are seeing it on the clerk website itself that this is the new format in which they are doing this documentation. And that helps, that helps.
So Raghu, can you dumb that down for me and pretend I'm 5 years old and don't quite understand the process or haven't gone through the digital process before? What exactly happens? I'm a bank. I receive this from one of my clients. I have the certified digital document, but I haven't received a hard copy form. What are my next steps? Am I going to your website? Am I going back to the Register of Wills? What's the process for me to get comfortable with this?
There are two ways in which you will receive this document. The first is that you might be receiving an electronic document, the document in electronic format, like a PDF document, or you might be receiving it in paper form, right? We have built-in features to validate the document, whether it is in electronic form or in paper form. So in electronic form, what you're receiving is an email, probably, with an attached PDF document or a link to download a PDF document. All you need to do is open the document in Adobe PDF Reader or Internet Explorer for that matter. It knows that this is a document created with cryptography, and it validates itself. And then a blue bar comes at the top saying that this is a certified document by the Honorable John Doe, the clerk or the Registrar of Wills of Philadelphia County, for that matter. So that's all you need to do. Just open up the document, because the document themselves are built according to ISO specifications. So when you open it, it's going to validate itself and then say, yes, this is what it is. So the same specification is used by NIST, which is the National Institute of Standards, for securing documents by the GPO, the Government Printing Office. On the other hand, if you received a paper copy of it, the reality is that anyone can tamper any piece of paper, right? And then a fake new piece of paper. In an electronic certified document, the paper copy, there are two ways to validate it. There is a unique code embedded within each document, AA, BB, CC, so on and so forth. And that's printed on the side of each page, page 1 of 10, 2 of 10, so on and so forth. One method to validate is copy that unique code or type it in on the clerk's website or the registrar's website. It's going to validate itself and then say, yep, I know all about it. This document came from Orange County, Florida. And oh, by the way, would you like to download the original for a side-by-side comparison? When you say yes, it downloads the document so you can see what you have on hand is what is in the courthouse. So there is a side-by-side comparison mechanism by which you can validate even when it's a paper copy. And for your convenience, we even have built in a QR code on the cover page of the document. You simply have to scan it with your cell phone, and it's going to do the same process of validating and then allowing you to download the original for a side-by-side comparison. So it's quite easy, whether it's electronic or paper form, you have methods to validate it and validate it easily.
Raghu, how long does that validation process take? Is it something that is done in seconds? Is it something that's done in minutes, hours?
That's a fantastic question. So the validation is instantaneous. So if it is an electronic document, as soon as you open it, it may take about 3-4 seconds. It's going to validate itself because there is some hash checking and so on and so forth going on behind the scenes. So it may take 2 to 3 seconds. On the other hand, if you are scanning the QR code or entering the unique code on a website, that also will take about 4 or 5 seconds. It'll allow you to download the original. So it's pretty quick. It depends on the network bandwidth, but within 5 to 10 seconds, you can validate any document.
So if I'm a financial institution and I receive this certified electronic document, all I need to do is put in the unique code, and within seconds, I get an answer.
Absolutely. As simple as that. Put in the unique code, and that the document in itself, the cover page itself, will tell you where to put in the unique code. Sometimes for smaller clerks' offices, they will say, go to clerkecertify.com and enter your unique code. But some of the medium to larger type counties, they have posted it on their own website to enter the unique code. So, but all in all, it takes about 5 to 10 seconds to validate a certified document. And the beauty is that we don't buffer any data. Everything is coming straight from the court or register's repository. So every image, everything that is retrieved for verification is pulled instantaneously from the repository for live verification.
So you're not storing any documents on your servers?
No, legally we cannot store any data in our servers at all because they're all very sensitive, non-public data. So the entire certification, everything is happening within the clerk's computing platform. And then all verification, when it's retrieving the original, everything is live and instantaneous right then and there.
Now, you're currently in several courts in different counties. Could you describe a little bit of your footprint?
Absolutely. We are currently live in Florida in about 24 clerk of courts offices. And then we are also expanding into Illinois and Texas very soon. So we have counties ranging from with population of more than 2 million people to counties with a population of 7,000. The reality is that the market need for ability to have a self-validating tamper evidence certified document is across the board, whether it's a small county, medium county, or a very large county. It's just that the beneficial use for them, for example, some of the counties where we have a population of more than 2 million, they will have a very large volume, versus somebody with 7,000 would have a lower volume, but the applicability of this technology and the use of it is pretty much the same.
Raghu, how are you finding that the clerks are liking this technology? How do they like the old way, which is the stamped way, versus the e-certified way?
Traditionally, when we came up with this technology several years, it's about 5 years ago or so, one of the things is that there were some early adopters, and some of them are mid-level adopters, and some of them are laggards, right? But in terms of once they went live, once they see the benefit of using a technology, from a clerk's perspective, one of the key things for them is reduce the walk-in traffic. Nobody expected COVID-19 to hit last year. But even before that, one of the key goals for most of the Register of Wills or clerks was they wanted to reduce the walk-in traffic to the clerk's office. And then at the same time, being able to offer a document that is more protected and more fraud-proof than what they've done in the past. So some of the clerk's offices where we have implemented it, we have realized 85% reduction in walk-in traffic. This I'm talking, big clerk's offices, because everything is online. People can order the document online, receive it within seconds with no labor needed from the clerk's office, right? That has been a big, big success for them, because that not only eliminated the walk-in traffic, but the labor that the clerk would have required to do is also gone. But at the same time, you have a much better product. So they've been very appreciative of that, and in fact has been very promoting even within the clerk base to say, we have to use this technology for future.
So if I'm an executor or a personal representative walking into a clerk's office, first of all, how do I find out about your product? And secondly, when I have a problem, when I have a question, I didn't download it correctly, I just don't know what I'm doing, am I calling the clerk's office or your company? Because you just said that the clerk's office doesn't have any additional labor requirements. How does that work?
The easiest way to order a certified document is go online and order your document yourself. So once the integration is completed, more often than not, if you have a login into the clerk's portal, or if it's a public record, you can order it from the web portal itself without having a login and password and everything. So that's the easy part. So once you order the document online, you can receive it within seconds, right? And so you select the document, you order it, and then you pay using your credit card. And the system collects the statutory fee owed to the clerk's office, as well as we assess a small service fee as our fee. And then once that payment has been completed, within about 30 seconds, you should receive your certified document as an email, or you can download it straight from the web itself. So that's all is needed.
And I can send that out as many times as I want. I don't have to. When I go into a clerk's office now and I order 10 short certificates, I have to, pay for each one of those. In this case, if I have one certified document, I don't need to download a new one every time I want to send one out, right?
Yes, absolutely. And that is one of the key benefits with having an electronic certified document, because you can print it as many times as you want, or you can send it to people as many times as you want. Depends on the clerk's office. Some of the clerk's offices may require us to set a configurable validation period. So they might say this document can be validated only for 30 days, right? So we might set in a boundary condition such as, if you issue the document on September 1st, you can validate it until September 30th. That is set in instances where it's like a time-sensitive document, right? Where they say, well, I intentionally want somebody not to validate it beyond that 30th of the day. But otherwise, it's one electronic certified document. It's as good as 10 electronic certified documents.
So it sounds easier. It sounds easier for the staff. Sounds like less paperwork for the office. Why do you think county clerks are not doing this themselves? Why have we not seen this implemented from within the government, or the county government, I should say? And why does it, why was this their opportunity for you?
It's one of those things where cryptography is not the easiest of the subject to start off with. And it requires certain special skills to develop the software that can handle digital certificates and able to do cryptography and able to create these documents. So oftentimes in the clerk's offices, they probably may not have the programming staff or the support staff who can develop a software such as this. And that's where vendors like, obviously Triedata comes into play, because we found this niche market for local government, which is our target, where there is an abundant need. And then we want to fulfill that need with our technology so that they don't have to build it themselves. It's already there. The implementation cost is very negligible, and you can have up and running in a couple of weeks or 2 to 3 weeks instead of having to develop all this software yourself. Just like in software, there is a saying that when there is a commercially available software available, why would you want to rebuild it yourself, right? You might as well use it. And the beauty of this is that from a cost perspective, for us, there is a service fee we assess from the end user who's requesting the document. And that is a big convenience for them because they don't have to go to the courthouse. And that service fee is so low compared to the cost they might incur if I have to fly from Orange County, Florida to Philadelphia to get one document, right? So that's where the convenience, the labor savings, and the sheer fact that it's available and is ready to use instead of developing it yourself.
So Raghu, a question probably everybody has on their mind is, what does this cost the user to use electronic certification of documents?
So we charge a small service fee of $6 per document. That's our standard fee. So when somebody wants a certified copy of a short certificate or a letter of administration, they can go into the clerk's website, select the document, or go on clerkycertified.com, select it, and then we collect the statutory fee. So let's say that the statutory fee is $10 for that particular clerk's office. We charge a service fee of $6 on top of it for a total of $16. plus credit card fees of 3.5% of the total. So for about $17 and change, you will get that document within a minute or two.
And in some cases, I'm guessing over COVID, with restrictions on in-person meetings, it's not just about the ease of transactions. It's not just about the time saving. It actually is perhaps the only way to get a quick document in the counties that you're in.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, that has been proven so effective in the last several months. Like I said, some of the clerk's offices we are in right now, they have a population of 1.3 million, 2 million people, and so on and so forth. And then the courthouse was shut down. It's closed. You need to get an appointment. To get an appointment would take you probably 2 weeks out or 3 weeks out because, that's how they were short-staffed. And ultimately, you're going into the courthouse to get this one document. So if you can get it remotely within 1 minute, instead of waiting for 3 weeks and of not having to go through all the security and then the chances of getting COVID and so on and so forth. So there's a big benefit for adopting this technology to solve this particular problem.
Raghu, you're clearly leading the charge in the digitization of certified documents. What do you anticipate will be the next step in the modernization of court record keeping?
Where we see this is going is next step is to do actionable intelligence based on the document themselves. That's the next step. For example, where we see one of the opportunities of where this is going to go is, since our system has access to this document, we are able to monitor it and then say, let's say a short certificate was issued on September 1st. Subsequently, let's say a new short certificate was issued on November 1st. Something came up. The system should be able to detect it and then say, hey, there is a new one coming up, and then able to alert the people that, hey, there is a new short certificate available for this particular case, right? So that's where I see that the future is going, where able to do actionable intelligence based on the data sets being inputted into the entire system is, I feel like, where we are going. For us, for example, we are working on artificial intelligence and natural language processing just to do that, being able to detect changes in the documents being sent and then being able to proactively take an action based on what is being inputted into the system. I see that as the next direction for the entire court's technology or the local government technology.
And what do you think the biggest impediments to the future of both digitizing records as well as the Triedata are? What are your obstacles that you're most worried about?
I think it's from an adaptability. It's a question about how fast can everybody adopt this technology and across the board to say, this is the new technology that we want. So for example, sometimes when you get a certified document from Florida and then you take it to a bank in Idaho, they've never seen it, right? They say, oh, what is this thing? So that can come up. That will always come up. So we have to work with the different agencies to say, listen, I think this is brand new. You might not have seen it before, but this is what a certified document is. We had the scenario when we went live in one of the county in Illinois, where the document was presented to the Secretary of State's office, and they looked at the very first document. They said, what is this? I've never seen a certified document like that. So they came back to us, and we worked with the Secretary of State's office in Illinois, and I'm very happy to report that we are the first provider accepted by the Illinois Secretary of State for electronic certification. So we work with that agency to say, this is what it is, this is how you validate it. And once they realize the benefits of it, then they're quick to adopt it, because at the end of the day, every agency and every government within the United States have signed up for Paper Reduction Act. And this is one easy way for us to fulfill the Paper Reduction Act. So that is that are some of the things. I mean, you will still find a bank or a title company or a courthouse somewhere in some county saying that I still want to see that wet seal. So the policy adopted within some of our client base is that Yes, if you're insisting to see wet seal, I'm going to give you a wet seal on an electronic certified document. They take the electronic certified document, mash a wet seal, and say, here you go. It doesn't serve any purpose, but they can see that beautiful wet seal and signature on it.
Raghu, what is the volume of documents that you certify in any given month?
We do roughly 20 to 25,000 documents a given month. And that, whenever we have this technology deployed in a clerk's office, they completely migrate to use this technology. There is no wet seal anymore. There is no paper. If somebody wants the paper, what they're receiving is an electronic certified paper version of the electronic certified document, because it's a traceable, trackable document at that point, right? But the key thing is that we have pretty much every agency within the nation already receiving the certified document. That includes, for example, Department of Corrections, the local sheriff's office, state Secretary of State. But federal agencies such as Department of States, Department of Justice, FBI, DHS, U.S. Passport Office is accepting electronic certified documents from Triedata. So that list goes on and on and on. But we do about 20 to 25,000 a month.
Raghu, if our listeners have any questions, what's the best way to contact you?
Yeah, I think the best way to contact is that you can send us an email at support@triedata.com. Or if you have want to learn more about us, you can go to triedata.com. That is TRIEDATA.com. Or clerkecertify.com. That is clerk, like CLERK, E as an eagle, certify, CERTIFY.com, and learn more about our technologies and our API data set. What we did is that we built an integratable platform. So if you are a medium to high volume county and then want to implement the solution, you could learn about our APIs and API data sets available on how to integrate e-certify technology with your web front end, web portal, as well as with the back end, everything. So the entire document set is available. And we do obviously have our 1-800 number. Feel free to reach us anytime, and we are here to help you.
Well, Raghu, thank you so much for joining us today and discussing Triedata, Clerk e-Certify, and document certification. It sounds like electronic certification is definitely the future of document certification, and we wish you and your company the best of success in the future. We can't wait to have you back to give us an update on AI and machine learning.
Thank you so much, and much appreciated, Justin, Ross, and Jen. And it was a fabulous session, and I enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of the Digital Planning Podcast. For Ross and Jen, I'm Justin, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Digital Planning Podcast, the podcast designed to educate individuals about all things digital in connection with estate planning, business planning, and estate administration. Please subscribe to this podcast and leave us a rating or review on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, or wherever you download your podcasts. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.
This podcast is not intended nor should be relied upon as legal advice, nor is it creating any attorney-client relationship with a listener and the hosts or guests. The information provided is only for educational and informational purposes, and the information provided will likely change.